Hello, welcome back. Do tell me if you can hear me. I think I'm always a bit worried that the mic isn't on, but I think it is. Yeah, it should be. It should be, okay. So we left it at 4-all. I had a look through some of the decisions in the first few games, and there were plenty that I got wrong, plenty that I got right. Alright, let's just start anyway. And if anyone has any questions, at the moment we're just one viewer, but if you have any questions, whoever you are, let me know. Okay, now having a break. They're having a break, so let me... Here they are. So I think Roberto is leading 4-0, something like that. I can't remember, it doesn't matter so much. And then Hideaki came back. So 5-4, normal. So I'm going to pause the video a lot. 6-3 is a standard play. You come down. Yep, this is the play. Coming down and hitting. Not much to say about that. Now the question is, do you probably have to... So there's two choices here. Obviously you can either come in on the 23 and make the 5 point, which actually on a second glance looks okay, because, well, initially I thought it somehow duped 4s and 1s. To some extent, possibly. That's the first play, and then the second play is to come in and hit, which is the first play that came to mind for me. I really have no idea which is right. I think the question is it worth giving up your 8 point? So the 8 point is always a permanent asset. So what you would be doing is you would be dismantling one permanent asset to make a second permanent asset. The question is the value of the 5 point greater than the 8 point? And also I think a second question is, does it warrant if you actually break the 8 point, then you're destroying your position to a certain extent, whereas if you don't break the 8 point and you do something else, you're not destroying your position. So in some sense, yes, you're upgrading the anchor, but you're taking away one of your permanent assets. So I would probably play bar 22 and hit on the 4 point. Let me click play, see what happens. Whether he thinks about it for a long time or not very much. The other point is, of course, I failed to mention, which I should have done, is that you unstack a heavy point by hitting on the 4 point, which I think is important. Again, backgammon is a game of evaluating the priorities in a position. What is more important versus something else. So what is the greatest value? Is it unstacking? Or what is the greater value? Unstacking? Is making the 5 point a great value? Okay, so he does something that I didn't even consider, which could well be right, which is always a bit embarrassing. So 5-4 is not a particularly difficult play. I think the question is, do you leave the shot on the 9-point or on the 2-point? And usually here, because the shot, the checker, when missed, does something better on the 9-point, it's better to leave it there. You could possibly come out with both, but there's the alternative play is to leave fewer shots with the 4 and bring it down to the 2-point. So Hideaki is thinking about this. So again, he does a third play, which I didn't even consider. That could be okay. It leaves obviously a lot more shots. So 2-2 is an excellent number, which will point on the 4-point and make the 11-point. Quite an easy play to make. (3-6) just has to come in and come out. Now, before I didn't think that Roberto had anything, any reason to double. So he's going to hit that checker and cover. I didn't see that he could cover, of course. Now that prevents the cube. Not much to say. And so I'm just going to pause it for a second just to take stock. Hideaki, and this might be obvious, Hideaki just wants to try and get his checkers home safely. Not necessarily, he doesn't really need to hit any checkers. All he needs to do is not leave shots against a stronger board. Conversely, Roberto wants to provoke contact. And one of the ways that he will do that is, if he has the timing, to keep this checker back right on the 24, and to try and cover as much space as possible with other checkers, so that if Hideaki chooses to leave, let's say, the 16-point, then he has as many shots as possible within reason on the checker that still either stays on the 16-point or is vulnerable to being hit. So in some ways, Roberto's position is more difficult to play than Hideaki's, but of course it depends on the dice rolls. I can't remember now who rolled the 4-2. Of course, okay. And then this doesn't stay back. I think I would have stayed back. The problem is, of course, Roberto has to try and manage his timing. So he changes his mind here. I guess that could be okay. Again, the point is here, for me at least, is that White's position is brittle, and something is going to have to break in it. In all holding positions, an absolutely key objective for the person who is waiting for the shot, which is Roberto in this instance, is to keep your board as pure as possible and make your points in order. Now, if you do that, had he made the 3-point, but you create a position where next go or the next few goes you make it very likely that you have to break one of your anchors, then it means that you can't afford to just try and make your board. You have to compromise, and which is what Roberto did. He came out to give himself some flexibility and some extra, basically he gave himself some extra air, but he compromised on the build boarding priority. So he did really want to build his board, but he judged that he couldn't, or he shouldn't do it on this occasion. And so, of course, Hideaki would just not leave shots. He's just playing carefully. That's why he's taking a little bit of time. So he will just play to the 7 point and to the 2 point. I'm 90% sure. The longer he takes the... I can't believe he's considering clearing the 16. Simply because, well, even when you get missed, you still don't get the checker safe. Plus, you probably don't have a double, even if you get missed. So this is the thing. This is the theme that's happening in Roberto's position. He has to start moving stuff. He hasn't got enough checkers to play, let's say on his midpoint or in the upfield, to allow him not to play one of his back checkers. So it looks like he's going to possibly come out with the 6. He doesn't have to, and that would have the advantage of covering the midpoint, leaving direct coverage on the midpoint. Just waiting for the arrows to... Okay, so he does come out with a 6, he's got an ace to play. So again, a compromise. He leaves the back checker slightly vulnerable, but he does that in order to gain some holding value from the 16 point, and to enable him not to have to break his board and keep a strong board. You know. Anyway, any questions? Come on, let's have some questions. So I'm not just sitting here alone. Double 1, he's gonna he's probably gonna make the 5 point, although he could pick and pass. Again, as I said, Hideaki's objective here is just to get the checkers round and safe, but of course if you can make the 5 point, then you're gonna choose not to bring them as closely as possible, because the gain from making the 5 point is so correspondingly great. So this looks like a reasonable play. Of course, if he does this and Roberto rolls a 6 or a 1-5, then he manages to scoot out to this 16 point here. So just continuing to build his board, hoping to get a shot. And Hideaki can still play this safe down to the 7 point. So it's getting a little bit uncomfortable for him. And he just has to check that he's not overlooking something. The play's usually quite obvious, but there's no harm in taking a bit of time just to make sure. I didn't expect Roberto, if I can just... It's not letting me click. I want to go back. Let me go back. Let my people go. So I've got to... Oh, come on. Okay. Let me use this. I didn't realise you can go. Okay, let's go back. I want to go back. Let's have some questions. Where are we? We want the 5-2. No. We want the first 5-2. Yeah, this is what we want. Okay. So here, I do not want to put a checker on the ace point. I'm not 100% sure it's wrong, but it's a long way away from my... Well, it's a long way away from being able to get covered. Try and get my arrows up again, because they're pretty useful. So what I'm saying here is that when the checker is here on the ace point, the likelihood of being covered is thin, because obviously because the checkers that cover it are so far away. You could of course roll a 1, but then you'd have to make the ace point, which you don't want. You want to make them all in order. So the play that I thought was pretty obvious, leaving the shot but keeping your chances of making the 2 point, which is what you really want to do, is to play 2 down. Thoughts, anyone? That's what came out at me. I don't like going to the ace point, which is what Roberto chose to do quite quickly. Because even if Hideaki was to roll a 1 here, it wouldn't be that good for him. All he wants to do is to, I think, preserve his race lead and just get round safely. So he rolls a 5-2, he can play it safe. So 6-2 doesn't have to come out, but if he didn't, he would have to leave 1s. Notice that this anchor 16 point is a perfect six pips away from the anchor on the on Hideaki's 15 point, so it holds very well. So suggesting that just coming out to the 16 and the strategy of whoa, what was that? Okay, so 2 to play. Yeah, okay. This is probably what you have to do. It looks unusual. The question I always ask myself is, is there any possibility, if you can play purely, if there's any chance that you can, without too much risk, then you probably should. But here it gives away 4s and 2s with some return shots. It's probably not worth it, especially as Roberto has got 2 blocks on board, which of course he created by playing his 5-2 that way. But 4-2 looks really strange. I wonder if anyone, if I were to go back, the play that really, and this could be my weakness, the play that I kind of wanted to make was 2 down, to try and preserve this holding, the holding factor of this man on the 22 point. But the problem is that he gets pointed on with some numbers, so it's probably not worth the risk. Having said that, you need to check which numbers do what, which are duplicated and which are not, in order to be able to make the correct decision. So anyway, with the 6-2 he chooses to come to the 16 and play 4-2. And these plays, although they're a bit sort of fiddly, is the word I'm looking for, they're still important. Now that he's come out, of course, Hideaki will be able to use his checkers on the 8 point, just move them freely with no impediment, which is exactly what he wants to do until he gets the double. 6-5 is a great roll because it clears the midpoint, but he still can't double. Again, part of the, let me just go back. This is, I think, a crucial point for improving players. What we're trying to do in any backgammon position where the cube is a factor is we're trying to maneuver ourselves into a position that we can cube from. On the other side of that is maneuvering ourselves into a position where we can take and where we don't get cubed. Often being cubed creates a lot of equity for the cuber. So trying to get into a position or managing not to get cubed often can convert a play from not being right to being the right play. So after rolling 6-5, I noticed that I don't think that Hideaki will be able to cube, even though his position's improved. It's just a feature of this position that he's being held by these 2 very effective anchors. Having said that, what's in his favour is that he will have time to roll any double 2, double 4, double 5 and double 1. He can slot the 4 and the 3 here. He doesn't really need to make the points. He doesn't really need to make the 3 point. He'd like to make them in order. I am looking for my first question from Len. Len must be here. Which he does. He slots the points. No need to make them And Roberto can't leave a shot here, but he's going to have to go for the 2 point, I think, and the next 6 could leave a shot. So that's the double 4, which loses the market, I think. It looks like he's way ahead, although it doesn't do him very much good for crossovers. He could just stay at 11 point actually and play it 8-4, 7-3, and then it could still be a pass. So 38. Well, he's choosing to do this. It looks... I'm not sure. It certainly looks cubable without counting. 43, 55, 74, 81 for black. 29, 40, 56, 82, 84, 86. Okay, so it's very close. It's 81, 86, and next I've miscounted. And with all those, all the six, if so, to illustrate these crossovers are very bad. Perhaps he should have just stayed on the 11 point then and brought them in. All 6s are going to have to be played to the ace point. So 1 6 is good, but you don't want to get more than, let's say, 2 men on the ace point. 5s are not going to play very well. So the fact that there's a sort of almost a wastage effect going on, suggesting that Hideaki's position is weaker than it would be usually with that pip count. 8%. Hi Martin, what's 8%? Not following you. 8%. 8%. Okay. 8%. Well, yeah, 81, 86 is 5. It's probably enough in terms of pure race. Very easy take. Notice also that Roberto has some wastage as well, and also the open 4 point. But now it looks quite good for black. I mean, maybe I miscounted. I counted 81, 86. Of course, I would have counted more than once if I was playing on normal clock time, or even. But interesting, lots of 2 checkers on the ace point, 2 on the deuce point. So by no means do either player have a good structure. Yeah, I only do it. I don't have a method. I just count like brute force. Just add them up. I guess I'm kind of, that's my talent. That's my BG talent. But I don't use a shortcut. But I guess I miscounted. So boxes is going to get it. 6 is going to lead 6-4. So this was a bit of a slow game. The second or the third game in this match was really, really dynamic and 3 men back, and he made the outside prime. But thank you, Len, for asking a question. No, not necessarily. I mean, I tend to go for the midpoint first. I don't know why. You know, 3 13s or 39, 4 13s. I don't know, just there's no rhyme or reason. I tend to count a bit too much when it's not necessary. I think there's arguments for counting. There's arguments also just to look at the position and be able to train yourself to see that, yeah, shit, you've obviously got a massive pip lead. There's no need to count, or this is not a position you need to count in. But clearly, that 81, 86 was a position you need to count in, and then after counting, you need to just do some visual adjustments, stuff like that. But I was interested in, I'm going to pause it, I was interested in a couple of things there. Roberto's 5-2 where he went to the ace point, I think that was a bit odd. But he seems very confident in his plays, which is good. And I'm going to go with him because he's a strong player. So the other players, the 6-2, I think they were probably right. But he had a tricky game to play there. 6-3 is going to come out all the way. 4-3. I don't know this one. I suppose you don't give a good 6. I mean, I don't really understand if someone can help me out with that, because that happens all the time. 3-6 all the way out, or you could come play 24-18. I think this is better to stay back, and I think it's better to hit than to make the 4 point and then come to the 14 point. So the reason you come to the 14 point, perhaps. So the reason you come to the 14 point after you hit, and thank you, Len, for the, is that I guess that you know this, Len will certainly know this because he's a strong, is that you get the chance to be in contact with this checker on the 9 point. So in the unlikely event it gets hit, you get an extra return hit on that black checker that would be there if the white checker got hit. If it doesn't get hit, then you can make the 9 point. And the 9 point in a position like this is very strong. It's what you want. So I would also come out to the 14 point for that reason, mainly that reason. Okay, I'm going to pause because just Martin, do you advise a running pit count during the game? I'm not qualified to answer that question really. I don't really. It depends whether you can do it without too much mental stress. I mean, the more stress you put on your brain, the more likely is that your other decisions, your later decisions, are going to get worse. So you need to be able to work out for yourself whether or not a running pip count is something you can do with pretty easily and without putting too much fatigue on your mind. So it was 81-88. I did miscount. That makes a huge difference, 5 as opposed to 7. But I am usually quite accurate with pip counting, so I don't do a running count, and I can do it quite quickly, and usually don't make mistakes. So double 3 is obvious. The two of them are going to be put on the 3 point. You're going to hit. Much better to make the 3 point than let's say hit twice. I'm pretty confident about plays like this that... Oh, what happened? Oh, the clock hadn't been... Okay. So, Hideaki has rolled double 3, I think. So he's going to play bar 22 and he's going to hit on the 3 point. And then it's just a question of the next 3. Probably 13-10. That seems like an easy, as far as difficulty level goes, that's like a 1 or a 2 out of 5. Pretty easy play. There's 2 good choices here. One is coming in on the 24, making the 9 from the 14 point, which I think is best, or you could have come in on the 20. You could have come in on the 20 and played 10-9, but leaving 2s which are unduplicated. So, I mean, bear with me, maybe it's just too obvious. If you play this, then you leave 5s, 3s and 1s to hit here, and 2s to hit here, and things like 2-6, you get some extra double hitters as black. So suggesting that you're much better off coming in on the 21 point, making the 5, not leaving yourself vulnerable at all. So it looks like a pretty decent play just to come in on 24 and play 14-9. And then you only get hit, well, you get hit with 7-9, so Hideaki rolls a good number, which Roberto couldn't do anything about. And then this is a bit awkward. You don't really want to play bar 23 and 24-20, because again you're coming under attack. However, there's no real alternative. If you wanted to play, let's say, bar 21 and 6-4, you're not. So he does choose the 8-6, which leaves 6 checkers on the ace. I don't like. I'm going to suggest that that's wrong. I wonder what you guys think of that. I personally, I can understand why you would do that. Ooh. Let me just go back. I think even 6-4, I'm going to guess, is better than 8-6 if you come and play bar 21. I'm not sure, I have to say, but I think I would probably just give up my 24-point goalkeeper and play bar 23. Don't know whether all of you know what bar 23 means, and then just play up 24-20. And then you don't have to put a sixth checker, you don't have to rip a sort of a kind of a spare from the 8-point and then lump up. You have to step up, do you think, to 23, bar 23, 24, 20? That was what I thought. So this just, it makes it so much more difficult for yourself to have that checker there. And this is just a joker anyway you cut it, but had he played bar 23, 24, 20, he would have lucked out and not been pointed on. The question is, what do you do with the third 4? And you probably can just play 13, 11. 15 to 13 is very safe. This is better. I mean, so this is what I'm talking about. Like when he plays bar this double 2, he should be thinking about what rollbacks from Roberto he's going to be cubing on. That's to say, wait for Roberto to roll something like 5-1, and then Hideaki is thinking, will I be cubing after that 5-1? Now, one of the reasons for not playing 13-11 and cleaning up this blot is because now if he rolls a 1-3, 2-3 or 5-3, I don't think that Hideaki will be able to cube, because Roberto will come in with like a 1-3. It's not absolutely fantastic, and presumably he will hit. It still might be a double. But I think Hideaki will know that after a lot of Roberto's dice rolls here, he is going to be cubing. Now, what I didn't factor in was that Hideaki has got a slight match lead, which always matters. So after 5-4, we know that there's definitely no cube. That's maybe the best number. Double 5 is decent. Makes the 10 and establishes even further the race lead. So Hideaki just knows exactly what he wants to do. Both game plans are pretty concrete here. Roberto to block that lone single checker in, and Hideaki to escape that lone single checker. Yeah, did you check it? This match is on Backgammon Studio, so 6-5 in terms of, you can see his game strategy is the best number, and now it's going to be cubable. Well, maybe not after double 2, because that makes the shot equity a lot better for Roberto, a lot worse for Hideaki. But perhaps if this checker was on the 8-point, it could be a cube. But it's in the ballpark. It seems a bit thin. The other thing is that you're an odd number of points away, so double T comes to the bar. Okay. That I didn't realise that he hadn't played the last 2. Let me just go back. It seems right to do that. Okay, I won't go back. So this is maybe the second worst number after double 6. Have to leave a shot, which you don't want to do. Hi Reese. Reese, this is questions and answers. So I need some questions that I can't necessarily answer, but maybe someone else can. And I still don't think, so I think Roberto's going to have to clear the mid. That's kind of obvious. You go too deep. He could possibly leave a checker there, actually, because I didn't see that Hideaki had a blot on the 2-point. Yeah, great reference. I think I would just play 2 down. Still no cube. What was wrong with that? He just didn't like 5-2, so I thought he'll re-roll. Now, do you play 13-6? I think so, because you want to try and clear it. If you're ahead in the race, the game plan is to try and clear it, even though you're more likely to leave shots, I think, with a strip midpoint. Okay. And I don't think that there was any question that there would be no cube here before the 5-2. And this could be a situation where Hideaki has to lose his market. Okay, I might have just slotted the ace, I think, because there are some instances where you end up racing and you're better off with having a checker on the ace. And Hideaki wasn't going to leave a shot there, because it's a double one. If he's ahead, he will just come to the 11 point. Always consider percentage gammons. With low number gammons, it's more likely to take. Yeah. So he doesn't think he's ahead. What was this? Let me go back. So this is surprising. 4-1. Oh, it was a 4-1. I thought it was a double one. Oh, okay. Roberto rolled a double one. 4-1 is like is probably worse than a 6-2 or a 6-3, because now you destroy your board and you don't gain very much in the race. So I think Roberto can probably just go here. So this is like a key move in the game that you have to think about. It looks, so visually it looked like he could go. Race-wise, 56, 77, 83, 88. He will be 77 after the roll. 42, 47, 55, 61, 67, 70. So he'll be 7 pips behind after the roll. However, if he doesn't run now, Hideaki could make the 5 point. I would probably not run, knowing that we're going to be, I think, what was it, 5 pips behind after the race, and also Hideaki is not assured of improving his board. What would you guys do? It just looked visually like I think you have to do this, not give many good numbers, but I tend to pay later too much now. Black has some bad numbers, yeah. So I'm with you. And here, would you run with the 2 blocks in board? This has got to be a candidate for a run, because even things like 4-2, 5-1 and mixed blessings, are you going to hit with a 4-2 and a 5-1? And then 6-5, 6-4, 6-3, you leave shots. So I think you run. You need the pips in the race. I'm confident-ish with this. I mean, it's also fine if you don't run, but then you waste a lot of checkers, a lot of pips. So Roberto runs as well. That doesn't necessarily mean it's right. And this is because of the 2 blocks, it's difficult. And yeah, there's the 4-2. Leaving 20 shots, but against that, this is, for me, these are very difficult. If Roberto had a closed board, I wouldn't hit, obviously, for leaving 20 shots, 20 winning numbers. Now he's got a block. Maybe it's still an easy no hit. If you don't hit, it's not looking good for you really either. Martin would stay. Something tells, I mean, it just feels like it's a hit, but I tend to make huge blunders in positions like these. I mean, simply you give 20 immediate shots. Let's say you can downgrade them to about 15 shots because of the block in the board. It's not a full board. However, if you don't hit, then you really waste loads of pips, and white can either stay there or maybe he rolls well and gains a lot in the race. Anyone? What does anyone else think? I think this is difficult. Now the cube is not in play yet. It hasn't been cubed. So if Hideaki was to hit, would Roberto be able to cube? I don't know. Okay, so he doesn't hit. This looks right, especially because he played it. But I have to say I wasn't sure. So Roberto's just going to stay there. I think play 11 to 9, and then maybe 9 to 8. And now, having picked up 2 blocks, this is a very tricky. Leading suggests being a bit more conservative, but there are going to be 17 shots, but there are some immediate returns if you hit with a 5-1 or a 4-2. And then you've got numbers like 5-4, 5-3, 5-2, which block immediately, 4-3. I just don't know. This is too difficult for me, but I probably wouldn't double being up in the, being 6-4 up. Why is 20 numbers is a lot? Yeah, 20 numbers is a lot. And I just tend to hit in positions like that because of a psychological impediment. I just can't stop myself. But I think that not hitting was right. And now there's a race lead and there are some shots, and the cube decision is going to be pretty close. I wish I could say something something more fundamental about the position, but okay, so he does double. And of course, having said that, you can see now that even with the 5-4, you don't necessarily get hit back. And then this is another difficult play. I mean, if you're behind in the race, you just want to stay back. Roberto plays it so quickly, like he knows exactly what his game plan is, and that's quite impressive. And then you find yourself, that would be just a huge market loser. So it felt like a good cube from the sequence, because of course he rolled the 5-4. You only get hit 17 times. So Hideaki is going to go 8-4 up. Yeah, I mean, of course that would be easy, but notice that Black had quite, I think, a big race lead as well. Any questions? I mean, those cubing decisions are very difficult. I was just thinking that I suppose that he would need to be something in the order of like a 72-73% favourite. Okay, so he goes 8-4 up. Do I keep any specific reference positions? Then asks, no. A small no double before. Okay, so it was a cube. Thanks, guys. Thanks very much for doing XG. So 3-4-6-5 is clear. 3-1 makes the 5 point and gives Hideaki quite a big advantage in the game already. And Roberto will have to play quite carefully. This leaves 8 shots. He just okay, so he's down. I mean, he's down in the match, so this could be okay. But it's interesting. He just changed his decision so quickly on a win, which can't be good. Now, even at 8-4 up, this could be something. We've got, as black, we've got the advanced anchor. We're threatening to make a further point on board. We've got all our checkers in front of our opponents. Obviously, Roberto's got one on the bar. And then just put yourself in Roberto's shoes. It's not something that you want to really be taking, get gammoned on. Having said that, it's going to be an easy take, I think, at this score. Because there are 4 points in board still open. There's so much that can happen. Consider a roll for Hideaki like 5-1, and then Roberto just comes in with I don't know, 3-5 or something, which is a bad roll, and he's still doing okay. So it's an easy take. I agree with that, and I agree with the cube. So this makes the 3 point. So even if he rolls like a 1-5, he's not doing too well, but he's made the ace point. So he should try and go for. I agree. Go for the anchor. He could even play 2 down. And I think Hideaki is going to have to play big to take advantage of some of the gammons that he wins, even though he's something like this. So the upside is still pretty great. He going to 12 to 15 is a big deal, so that's why he kind of wants to take advantage of his gammons. Was it a small cube before the a small no double before the he cleared the 6 and 5 with the 4-2? So what have we got here? A 4-2. Oh, so I don't see. Why would he not play bar 23 8 to 4? Okay. Because 5-1 isn't hitting anyway. So 5, because he knows that 5-1 is just going to make the 18. And if you knew that, then you would prefer. You know that you prefer to have your checker on the 21 than on the 23 point. Okay, thanks. Small no double. Okay. So Roberto's definitely got himself back in the game with the 1-5. He can roll a double 5 or a double 4 and maybe get himself into a recubing position. My arrows are fucked as usual. Hideaki probably is ahead in the race. Okay, so this hits and covers. I didn't see that. Four, 6 looks like it's just going to come in and come out. I mean, what is Roberto going to hit with? And you'd prefer your checker not to be on the 3 point, so you just want it to come out so that you can try and win the race. I think it looks to me like Hideaki's got a race lead. 89, 98, 140 he is. He'll be 134 after the roll, 75, 86, 24, 110, 134, 138. So he's going to be 4 pips up after he plays the 6. And it's interesting he's taking a lot of time on this. Maybe he's very sensitive to the fact. So the race is very sensitive. When it's close, it's very sensitive, of course. If you lose some pips in the race, and that was then obviously that being your game plan to race, then you lose out quite a lot. Roberto can play save. This is quite big. Let me pause this. This is definitely quite big, considering. I'm not saying it's wrong. He could just play 11-2. So he's got to weigh up the big thing he's weighing up here is how much can he risk getting gammoned versus how much does he gain by making a 7-point and then getting into a position that he can recube from. His recubing point is going to be pretty early, maybe I don't know, 60%. But the figures don't. It's not really about the percentages. It's just that if he makes the 7-point and manages to get those checkers from the 18-point round, he might be able to cube some point, recube, and Hideaki might well have to take. So the decision for me, which Roberto made instinctively, is whether or not the gain from that outweighs the loss from being hit. If you get hit with 1, 2, and all threes, then even though you've got the 18-point, you're in a bit of trouble. But it seems like Roberto just felt that, and error by Roberto. So what was the error by Roberto? The 5-4. It seems very big. So of course the 3 you hit immediately, and then we don't know whether we probably play the 6 to the 16-point. Error by Roberto. Oh right, this is the Lenji, not XG. So you agree with me? Okay, so this is like, look what happens here. Even though he's got the 18-point, you could clear the 15 now, which looks good, or you could bring the man from the 9-point to the 8-point to try and get an extra builder on the 2-point. Yeah, but Len, is that XG or is that your what you think you should have done? Ah, okay. Yeah, and then rolls an immediate. What was that? An immediate 2-6. Whoa! What was this? So what did we have with the double 1? So the double 1 he plays this, which I like, I think. And then the 2-6 from the bar, and then that's enormous. Enormous. The double 1 is no great shakes. Do you clear the 15 now? Probably not. Otherwise, I don't know, you make it easier for Roberto to get home. But it's almost like Hideaki's playing the game like he's trailing 8-4. Trying to gammon Roberto, which he probably should be doing in this position because Roberto's got a very poor, basically a disgusting 2-point board with a horrible gap. And it's a difficult decision as to whether you clear the 15 here. And I haven't got the energy to sort of look into it. If the race if Hideaki is leading in the race, he should probably clear the 14. So XG thinks slot the 2. I'm guessing. Okay, this is bizarre. Why you would do that? I can't imagine that's right. And now this checker is, by not clearing, that was one number that didn't get it safe. The 6-5 doesn't go safe, and it becomes a bit of a horror number. I mean, you can hit twice and leave 4 blots. That's one thing you can do. I mean, what would I do here? 8-2, 6-1, leaving 2 blots. Well, there's 13-7, 7-2, leaving 2 blots, leaving 1s, 2s, and 6s. I like clearing the 14 as it might be difficult to clear later. Yeah. If he's behind in the race, though, maybe it's right not to clear the 14, but I don't see why he would do this. But back to the 6-5. Back to the 6-5. If you play 13-7, 7-2, then you leave 2s and 1s. Whereas if you play 8-2, 6-1, you just leave 1s as well as the 5s and the 6s. I'm not seeing anything else. I'm not seeing anything else. You can't get the man from the 17-point safe, which is partly why I guess that clearing the 14 is wrong. So he's gonna hit twice. Okay, maybe this is right. Maybe this leaves fewer shots, so it only leaves. Yeah, this has got to be right. Leaving fewer shots, so that's a good play. And he's really squirmed out of this. He's really squirmed out of this. So what was going on? Did he? So 6-5. Is there any cube here? So let's just stop. Is there any possible cube action here? Yeah, there might be. You roll a 6 or a 5. At this score, you know, this could definitely be a recube. That was a cube before the 4-3. This could definitely be a recube. I mean, the guy, he's trying to protect an 8-4 lead, and he just doesn't want to see a recube. Having said that, there's a lot of work to do for White with 3 open points. But he doesn't cube. So of course the 4-3 makes it. And then coming in with 1, it doesn't look like it's going to be a pass. So you don't lose your market. But this is a very, very strong cube. Or let's just say this is a cube. I guess he has to take. Yeah, 0.107 miss cube. Well, if that was a 0.107 miss, this could still be a take. This could still be a take, because if you don't roll the 4-3 or the 5-3 or the 5-4, you're in a world of pain still. I don't know theoretically, you know, the take points and stuff like this, but I do know that if you give this up, you can just still be leading 8-6. If you take and you get gammoned, you can go 12-8 down, which is a huge match equity swing. This is definitely a position where, as Hideaki, I don't want to be cubed. It looks like it's got to be a take. This has got to be a big, big cube. So for all of Roberto's very good plays, and is he going to pick and pass here? I don't think you can even pick and pass. For all of the good plays, I think that was an important... No, this is not a cube for money. No way. No way, man. So something tells... I have watched this, like... I don't like... No, whoa. You've got to... Martin and Len. Must be a cube for money. No, I don't think so. I'm going to humbly suggest that this is not a recube for money, and you can check that if you want. I would be surprised. And then the 4-1, to just leave the man there is insanity, even at this score, because you just lose all your advantage when you get hit. I mean, perhaps you pick and pass. I don't really know. I mean, maybe. This, of course, is a huge pass now. So it was unnecessary, I think, to do that. Let's say he picked the man up, he could still be redoubling a very... So this is all about efficient redoubles, and I don't think that Roberto played it in a way where he took... He considered whether or not he would be cubing after certain return shots by Hideaki. So by leaving the 4-1 and leaving the man slotted, if you get hit back, you definitely can't cube. Whereas if he comes in with 1, you can still cube. Having said that, he's probably not going to cube if he didn't cube before. 8-3, is 0.245. So a big, I mean, yeah, is a big blunder, or it's right. Okay, so now he cubes. This is like too good. This is never takeable. I have watched this, and I was surprised the way that Hideaki just took the cube and put it in that slot on the right hand side. It looked as if he was about to sort of do something to it and then take it. And he looks very calm, but I think he's just thinking, "That's come on, you can't just expect me to take this." I mean, it might not be too good, but it smells too good to me. It smells too good. Yeah, thanks for checking. Yeah, I didn't think it was a recube for money. So this has got looks like a lot of too good equity in you. I can't be sure about that. Okay, let's go on. That was a really good game. And thanks to both Martin and Len, to you guys for checking on XG. I really appreciate that because it makes it so much easier and more interesting for me. 0.007. Well, yeah, that's really close. But if you plus it, is it plus? You might get more of the too good. So Hideaki's taken the lead. I don't remember who wins. 2165. I think that makes Black a favourite. This is a monster, making the 5 and making the 20. Everyone knows that. And even at this score, this is a poor roll. He's going to have to play 6 to 4. He just plays, and then he just plays to the 1 to the 3 point without thinking. I don't like to have the checker there, that's for sure. I really want the checker to be there. And even leading, I think after the double 4, this looks cubable. Definitely an easy take. Definitely an easy take. I mean, it's hard. You kind of want to, but you're what are you? 7 away. 7 away, 9 away. Okay, now you're pleased, absolutely delighted you didn't. But it looks like Hideaki is playing kind of pretty okay, and Roberto's making a few things. Certainly, in the time he takes over certain decisions, I would respectfully suggest that he's not fully understanding them, or maybe he's tired. He kind of looks a bit tired. So 92 plus 24 is 1. So what? Roberto's 116, 66, 128. So he's 12 pips up. He can cube this. It's a very easy take. I don't know whether exactly when and where you should be cubing in these positions. One thing to note is that if he were an even number of points away from the desired match score, then it would make the cube would be a bigger cube, because when your opponent takes and it puts you to another even score away from the match, the desired match score, the match victory, then you are you gain a lot more than you would do just by being put at a score that is an odd number away from match victory. 15 pips is your cube point for money. Okay. In that, so you 15, he would need to be. So it was 116, 128. He would need to be 113. And now Hideaki might do this double 2. Oh no, it's not his double 2. Okay, thanks. Yeah, interesting. 1310 even. And so this looks like a cube and a take. I can't remember what was rolled. Can't remember what was rolled. I'm not sure what Hideaki is thinking about here. Oh, I see. He's got them all to play. I get it. So yeah, even if you're slightly behind, probably right to come out. If he does this and it's close, then it's definitely going to be a take. Could still be a cube though. I mean, unlikely for this to be the correct play and for it to be a cube, but I guess, well, if he's running, either he's too far behind either way, in which case, well, either he's too far behind, in which case he wouldn't run, and therefore it would be a pass. So this suggests that it's certainly a take, and it's not even, Roberto doesn't even think it's a double. So the race must be pretty close. Seems like Roberto's ahead. You just slot both points. This is pretty obvious. I mean, I don't know why you would do that. It's not going to be a big difference, but why you wouldn't want to play 6 to 5 there? That doesn't make sense. So by playing 8 to 7, yeah, you're 6. You give yourself like a 6 that goes to the ace point. I mean, I don't really know why you would do that. Yeah, well, because if you don't run, then you're just going to be breaking your board, or you're going to be forced off. So you stop yourself from being forced off with one by getting over with and running with both. Does that make sense? In other words, if he chooses not to run, he might have to run where he can't run with both and just run with one and leave the other one vulnerable to being pointed on, which would be very bad. So what you do is you accept that you have a slight raised deficit, but you use your dice rolls much more efficiently by actually running. You give yourself a chance in the race, whereas if you stay, you actually give yourself less of a chance in the race and also a chance of getting pointed on. Well, it's not about concepts such as giving up contact value. If you look at it, I mean, let's go back. If you look at it concretely, don't just look at it in terms of like concepts, which are helpful, but they're a bit abstract. But let's, go back to this. Oh, the 6-5. If you just have to say to yourself, like, what's going to happen? What could happen? Now, if you play the checkers in from the 11 points, say, you play 11, 6, 7 to 1, white just plays something, and white has got a lot of play. At some point, you're going to run out of, you're not going to want to break your board, and you're going to run out of checkers that you can play. You've only got 3 spares here. Right? White's got he's got 5, 7 men to play with. White might end up making the 4 point. Eventually down the line, you've got these 3 men in here, and then you roll a 5 or a 6. Well, with a 5, you can still waste, but you will have to often leave the anchor here, and then. Yeah, you still have contact value, but you've also got value of being pointed the shit on. You get hurt. So it's not. I guess in terms of those contact value, you lose a lot of the contact value in this particular position when you get forced off the anchor, and that's what's going to happen. Timing. Yeah, I mean, when I teach, I try not to use core concept. I mean, it's just basically backgammon's a looking forward game, and just look forward, and you will see that often black has to leave with 1. Now, if he comes in with both, and then he rolls a big number and then chooses to raise, well, I suppose he hasn't lost anything. But if he comes out with both and he rolls like a double 4 or double 3, the double 4 and double 3s are also going to be blocked. So that's another thing to consider. So consider whether or not you're getting full value for your doubles, and where the race is close. Even though you're running out to a race deficit, you're at least giving yourself all the workable numbers. Whereas here, your 4s and your 3s are double 4s and double 3s are blocked. Double 4 is obviously a big one. But I mean, I would have gone as well. So I feel I understand this play quite well. I feel that I'm getting forced off. So I just want to take my chances. Plus, Roberto hasn't got a checker on the 5 point yet. He's got checkers on the 2 point, which are kind of wasted. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. What have we got here? So we've got Roberto and Roll. Doesn't look like a cube. 40, 50, 70, 75, 25, 81, 75, 81. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, trailing. I would cube. 6 pips. 75, 81. Both have similar easy take, very standard double take. Normal take point for Hideaki at this score. And he's just counting. So presumably he doesn't do a running pip count, or he might be checking. And the only reason I'm not fast forwarding it because I can't remember whether there was a recube, and a 3-1 gives, makes it more likely for there to be a recube. Of course, Hideaki's recube point would be probably a little lower than an even match score. Okay, so that equalises things, so let's just fast forward it. Close, still pretty close. Perfect cube, yeah. I prefer 5 to 2 here, because the 3s are going to go to the 3 point. The 2s are going to come off. 4s are going to be bad, but you can't do anything about them. I'm not sure about the right 2 here. So these are always interesting plays, and there's sometimes quite a lot in them. You can play 5 to 3, you can play 4 to 2, and you can even play 3 to 1, but then you would be giving up a good 3 and only gaining a good 1. So that doesn't really make sense. I mean, most players would just play 5 to 3 there. The 5 is obviously good, and the 4 isn't great because it doesn't fill in a gap. It goes to the 2 point, and you've already got a man there. So you could play 5 to 1 conceivably. I wouldn't. But he does. Okay. Okay, so that's not going to be a recube. It matters a little bit. I mean, Hideaki had a decent chunk of equity before the double 1. So here you could play 3 to 2 because you take a checker off the 3 point, but then if you roll a 3, then it's pretty good for you. You get a checker off the 6 and fill the gap on the 3 point. I mean, most players would of course play 6 to 5. Seems logical to play 6 to 5. And then your 2s are okay, so I would play 6 to 5. You only lose out if you roll 2 6s. You only lose out by 1 pip, so I would play 6 to 5. But as it stands, he hasn't got much equity anyway, so he's struggling. That really helps. And I think here you play 6 to 5. I think that's pretty clear. Why? Why do we play 6 to 5? I wouldn't play 5 to 4. Now the 5s just go to the ace point. That's not where you want. I don't get that. I don't get that. Did he just roll? Oh, Roberto rolled it. Okay, so 8 all. I'm going to do one more game. Is this a break? Okay. So 8 all. Okay, that just makes the 10. Not a good roll. You really wanted to roll a 6. Or 6-5 is going to hit twice. Of course. Well, of course. And then a fan is still not a cube. Double 5 now makes the 5 point. That's the best number by probably quite a long way. And there are going to be some cubes after some dice sequences. So I think the play has to be, you have to split with the 1. You have to split. You're not going to split to the 21 point because it's too dangerous. So by elimination you split with the 1, and then you play 7 to 4, and then I think it's probably a double take after. And I think that what I'm trying to illustrate here is that Hideaki would have known this, that he would have known even before Roberto rolled the dice that there was some sequences. I mean, I don't. That is just what. It's you almost make it more likely that your opponent cues by doing this. I can't imagine he's going to pass. Yeah. So what? Would you not split then, Len? I'm pretty sure you have to split there. Unless I missed. I mean, 7 to 3 is definitely wrong. Definitely. I don't see any other play. You can't play 24, 21, 8 to 7 because it leaves 3s, 4s and 2s. You have to split, even though you're splitting in front of some massive stacks there. I mean, they're still quite a long way away from you. If you're on the 23 point, he doesn't really want to hit loose with 4s. Interesting. Would you have played 7 to 3? See, that's very anti-positional what Roberto did. Very anti-positional, in that you just have to. So you just have to make a positional play, and then you can evaluate whether or not you can take the cube. But what you can't do is make that play and then sort of hope that he doesn't cube, or that's not the way the game works. So he takes instantly anyway. I still think it's a take even after 7 to 3. And then 6-3 is going to be played to the 4 point. And now it just makes Hideaki's life so much easier to have a man sort of out of play on the 3 point. And that's still a good number. It will hit and come out. But there's so many things that need to go right for Roberto to get him out of trouble. He needs to get missed with 1s, with 3s. Okay, so this could hit on the ace point, I think. Yeah, okay, he doesn't even think about it. 24, 23 best. 24, 21, 7, 6 best. That's crazy. Really? So what about 24, 23, 7 to 4? How was that? That's insane. So it just shows you, for you arguing for, this is a great roll by the way, 2 more, 1 more to play, dupes the 2, and he just seems to be getting very lucky. Yeah, you want the best anchor, yeah, that's true. So how does he play the 6 here? I think either to the 7 point or to the deuce point. No, I don't think we are. We're talking about the 3-1. Let's go back, because I've got my eyes. We can always come forward very easily. Because we're talking about this 3-1. It's interesting. So this is like a play that comes up a lot of the time. What do you do? What's the first 3-1? So this is the 3-1 I'm talking about. And I think Len is saying that you play 21, 7 to 6. And yeah, that could be right, because you don't need the second block on the 4 point, I guess. Fine. Anyway, so 6-3 was played like this, hitting 5-4, the ace, and then we had double 1, and now the 4-6, 21-7. So the 4-6. Are you going to sort of give up and play 8-2, which leaves fewer shots, but doesn't really allow you to improve very well? I would probably play 13-7, having the 5 and the 4 point anchor there. It's 39. Okay, right. So not a big error. You do give a little bit away. If you play 13-7, you get hit with 6s. You give a little bit away, but because you've got the anchor, the double anchor, it could be that it would be wrong not to play 13-7, because you improve the position so much when you get missed and when it works out. That giving up on that eventuality is too big to not do it. Half a blunder. I'm not really at 3-5. He could have come out from the back. Double 1 is going to make the 4 point now. What was half a blunder? Oh yeah, that's 23-7-4. Yeah, no, I wouldn't consider. I would be, if I made a 39 error, I would be okay with that. So Hideaki re-establishes a firm grip on the game with the double 1. And I think Roberto has to hit and leave 6s. I think he sees that. I just think he's taking his time. You can generally see when players are just taking their time and checking rather than really considering other moves. And the ace, I remember this. I think we played 21-20. You don't really want to play 8-7. It just gives up. If it works and you don't get hit, it's pretty good if he doesn't roll a 5 or a 6. But you do want to keep the 8 points. You do want to keep the 8 points. So he does play 21-20. It looks okay to me. I mean, it's only 4-2 that you're paying off to. 4-1, I think you just have to bring the man in from the 11 point. I mean, you kind of want to come out, but you can't risk being hit. And this is tricky. He would probably have to play 21-18. I don't see. I mean, he really, of course, wants to make the anchor, but what else can you do? It's not that dangerous. Trying to follow the chat a little bit. 2-1. I just think he's checking this 2-1. I don't see what else he can do. He could just play 23-20, but then that gives up his sort of holding value of the 23 point, and then allows Roberto just to play 4s behind him. Ah, it was 8-7. It's interesting. Okay. That's interesting. Okay, so 2-1's just going to be 6-3. Again, I don't see an even score now. Why you would want to leave shots, so you just have to bite the bullet. I mean, I definitely saw, that was the first move I saw. I think I've seen this game before, and then because Hideaki played 21-20, I thought, okay, well, maybe it's okay. So it just shows you the value. You don't want to ever give your opponent the opportunity of removing your defense on the 4 point, on the 21 point. It's just too big. So that shows you the corresponding values of the position. what can you do with this? You can just play 18-8 and 20-10. That's one play. I think you want to stay back on the 23. He's just going to make the 3-point. Okay. That's interesting. And now this 4-2 is difficult. I mean, for safety's sake, I think you probably have to play 6-2, 3-1. If you play 13-7, you leave 5-2, 4-2, double 2, 4-3. Maybe that's fewer shots actually. Okay. Of course, if you play 6-2, 3-1, it's 11 shots. Okay, so 13-7 seems correct. Gets missed. Again, he's going to have to give up the 23 point. So now I wouldn't give up the 8 point. Yeah, I just didn't. The 5-5. What you gave up his midpoint. I mean. Yeah, wow. Wow, interesting. You see, don't just because a very strong player plays something doesn't mean it's right. And again, I think you just have to play super safe here. What else can you do apart from 7-4, 6-2? But that leaves 20 shots. I mean, it seems like they're both a little bit tired. No, I think he should have stayed back on the 23. I'm not sure. Play to the 18. Okay. 6-3 is easy. Let's just go to the 11 point. I think the players are sort of somewhat overthinking. Any questions? 6-3 just goes to the 11 point. There's no other play. I mean, you don't want to hit when you've got 5 men back, even though he's got like a terrible structure. But I could be wrong. This is what I would do. So yeah, 5-2, 5-3, 5-4, 5-6. Double 4. Looks like it's going to make the 4. Ah, wait, so what, you're saying that the, what was it, the, what do I think of XG's backgame analysis? I think it's probably better than anyone's. Apart from when you get checkers on the when you get outside primes starting at the 12 point and the 11 point when the anchor is on the 20 point. But as long as the anchors are on the 21 or the 22 and the prime is not too far extended out to the 12 point, then I think XG is fine. I don't think this double 2 is right. Now, if you get hit loose on the board, then you don't have many spares to play when you come in. You come in with, let's say, a 2 or a 1, and then your other die will be something, and you don't have any spares to play with. But it works, and against double 4 it's got to be right, because now something has to give, and I think you have to point on the deuce. That's pretty obvious. You can't just let him roll a 5 or a 6. And then question the other two. this is big, and so what I would be looking at is what numbers I give myself to make the 6 points. So 2 and 1 versus what I think the right idea is to play safe here. Oh, this is, yeah, you can see he's struggling, and I'm also struggling. Now he puts this on the board. So look at how the numbers that don't escape, so numbers without a 6 or a 5, look how they play. And they don't play that well. 4-1 is going to play okay, but things like 3-2, 4-3 are bad. So this certainly gives value to the non-hitting play. Is there enough value in the numbers that? Okay, so he goes for this. I would have hit on the 2 point. I'm not sure about the other two. So 3-1 would have been, he would have had to have cleared the 9 points. And now this is just difficult to play. Now you've lost the 6 point. It's like, do you hit on the ace? What do you do? So probably not. He's going to pick it up there. Six four is a very easy play and a good roll. Just goes all the way. But of course, what he's doing. And but even when he gets missed, it's not going to be anywhere near a recue. And now, of course, being hit, there's some gammon danger. 6-1 will come in and hit on the 2 point. It's a pretty easy play with 5 blocks lying about now. And you want to get missed here. I mean, yeah, this is maximising the chances. You don't want to get hit with a 6-2, 6-4, 6-5. Or this. I was about to say, as soon as Hideaki fans, then the game turns. Was that worth stopping for a second just to see what was going on? So let's hold on. So this is before, imagine the 6-1 hasn't been rolled. We've got one man in the air, and we've got a very good double 1, a very good double 4, a very good double 2. 6-1 will make the 2 point. Double 5 will hit and make the 4 point. Was it not worth considering the recube here? I think it was. 5-2 was hitting. 6-4 was hitting the second man. It would have been a very easy take, but I think definitely worth considering. So he does roll the 6-5, and it's kind of on most rolls, even on a 5, is this going to still be a cube? And this is like got shadings of too good in it. I mean, he stops now when this is just he's got so much. This can never be taken. Okay, so he just does that thing where he looks like he's going to take it. I'm going to leave it there, I think. But thank you to Len and Martin for supporting and putting positions into XG. I hope it was helpful. Please click like if you think it was. And it's 10-8, and I will hopefully finish this off another day. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.